Imagine waking up to the headlines that read, "The day the dollar died." Now, this might sound like the plot of a dystopian novel, but last week, this exact phrase appeared in the opinion pages of the Washington Post, one of the most unlikely places for this phrase to show up. And this article wasn't just another plea for reckless spending or higher taxes, it was actually the exact opposite. It was a stark warning, and it said America is racing toward a fiscal apocalypse, unprepared for the social upheaval that it will likely bring. Today, my friends, I'm going to show you 3 key strategies that you need to know right now to not just survive the inevitable financial apocalypse, but to thrive during the financial judgment day that is on the brink of happening. This isn't about fear-mongering or scaring you into inaction. It's about seeing the future clearly and taking action today that will set you up to be one of the winners. Because, my friends, when this day comes, the shift in wealth isn't going to be gradual, it's going to be seismic. Now, if you're new to this channel, my name is Ryan D. Lee. I'm a non-traditional financial strategist, and I help people take control over their money and build real wealth in this economy. My mission is to help you become financially free in 10 years or less. Before we dive into the solutions, the 3 steps to thrive during economic uncertainty, let me take a moment and diagnose the problem. On July 29, 2024, the US national debt surpassed an unprecedented amount of $35 trillion. That means that each American taxpayer would need to fork over more than $260,000 just to clear the slate. In just 2 months, from July 29th to the end of September, we've added another $400 billion to that total. Yet no politician is talking about cutting spending. They're promising more of the same, more spending, more debt. The reality is this: they can't stop spending. They won't stop spending, and frankly, I don't think they want to stop. It's a runaway train that they're going to ride to the very bottom. So instead of waiting for a political miracle, here's what you need to know. You have to understand this: the game is rigged. Politicians are playing with your future earnings as collateral. They're borrowing like there's no tomorrow. So how do you turn the tables? Well, my friends, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the 3 key tactics to help you understand the game of money and set yourself up and your family to win big in these uncertain times. So with that being said, let's dive into tactic number 1. Tactic number 1 is understand the game of money. Rather than reacting with fear, anger, or frustration, simply start playing the game of money that they are playing themselves. For years, I resisted the reality that they, politicians, don't want to stop spending. I was waiting for a return to fiscal responsibility, and every step away from that fiscal responsibility that we took, I would get angry, I would get frustrated, I would get mad. But getting worked up about their problems really distracted me from finding the solution, which is playing their game instead of simply resisting. So here's the truth: we didn't create this game where money is devalued by constant printing, but we can't change it either. Resisting this reality only worsens our experience of the reality. The government has mortgaged our future in the form of taxes, but Americans are digging their own holes deeper by using debt to buy things that depreciate and require more future time and money to pay those things back. Let me give you an example. Today, Americans are mirroring government's reckless spending with over $1 trillion in credit card debt, over $1.7 trillion in student loan debt, and over $1.5 trillion in auto loan debt. Now, here's a sneaky little thing that I want you to know. Do you know the biggest asset on the federal government's balance sheet is student loan debt? Take that for what it's worth.
It's never too early to learn that the government is a greedy piglet that suckles on a taxpayer's teat until they have sore, chapped nipples.
Americans seem to be using their future earnings as collateral for consumer goods. But unlike the government, you don't have taxpayers to back you up. So stop playing the game of money like a game of checkers. Instead, step onto the chessboard and play like an investor. Investors, they use debt strategically, not to buy things that depreciate, but to acquire assets that appreciate in value. Let me give you an example. Let's say you save up for a down payment on a $200,000 single-family home and you borrow the rest. Now, your tenant's rent covers your mortgage and expenses, while your property appreciates over time. With the government's game, you're the pawn. But in this game, you're the one making strategic moves using debt to your advantage. So the key takeaway from tactic number 1 is this: recognize the true game being played and shift your focus. Instead of allowing debt to cripple your finances, use it to proactively build wealth through smart investments that create value over time. This brings me to tactic number 2: convert fake dollars into real assets. If the dollar's value is on the brink of collapse, holding on to cash is literally the dumbest thing you can do. Now, I think most people are aware of the devaluing nature of cash, but many people who are unaware of the game of money that we're discussing in this video try to combat this problem by funneling their cash into the stock market, which is even less smart because now their cash is tied up in an asset that is volatile and heavily taxed. My friends, this is diminishing the value of their investments, and it's doing nothing to protect them from the coming judgment day of the financial collapse. Their money is tied up in things that they have no control over, and in many cases can't even pull out because it's in an IRA that is taxed and penalized if you pull your money out. Damn. But let me give you an example to illustrate this. Let's say you want to retire with $160,000 of annual spendable income. To do this, you would need $4 million in the stock market. If you're saving $20,000 a year and earning the average market return of, let's say, 7%, it would take you just over 39 years to reach the goal of having $4 million in a market-based account. But after accounting for a 3% inflation rate, your $160,000 today now only spends like $48,777 40 years in the future. The bottom line of this example is, my friends, you're playing a game that is literally unwinnable. You are playing the wrong game. So let's flip this game on its head and let's look at the antithesis of putting your money in places that do nothing to build your wealth or protect you from the coming chaos. Let's say instead you bought a rental house for $100,000 cash and it appreciated by 5%. Well, your rate of return would be simple. It's 5%. But if you bought that same house with an 80% loan from a bank and used your capital to fund the 20% down payment, your rate of return would jump from 5% all the way to 25%. Why, you might ask? Well, it's because you only had to put in $20,000 to experience the upside, but yet you still gained the full 5% appreciation on the property. My friends, leverage is the key. Leverage is a force multiplier, and the main difference between the wealthy and everyone else is the wealthy use leverage more strategically, more effectively, and more frequently than everyone else. That's it. The biggest reason the stock market won't make you wealthy is that you're not converting fake dollars into real assets and you're not using leverage. Real estate isn't just about cash flow. In fact, it's less about cash flow than anything else. It's about converting fake dollars, devalued dollars, into real assets that have real value over a long period of time. The best thing about real estate is you're taking cash, which loses value every single day due to inflation, and putting it into an asset that holds its value over time regardless of economic turmoil. In order to help you understand why real estate is an asset that is so economically powerful, let me give you the 3 components for an asset to be a real asset. Number 1, it must have real value. Perceived value is in the eye of the beholder. So if you're going to buy real estate, make sure you're buying an asset that has real value to the person that you're trying to serve with that real estate. Number 2, it must solve a problem. It must address a widespread need. If you're buying a luxury mansion hoping that that's your real estate investment, you've narrowed down the audience that you can serve and solve a problem for. And number 3, your asset has to hold value over time. It must maintain demand and relevance across a wide span of time. This is why I love single-family homes. People will always need a place to live. Compare a single-family home, which is always in demand, to something like commercial real estate. Now, many people believed commercial real estate would always hold its demand, but the last couple of years with the boom of technology has taught us otherwise. Today, commercial buildings, office spaces sit vacant because people now can work from anywhere. The asset class of commercial real estate did not hold its demand over a long period of time. So the key takeaway from this is simple. Transforming devaluing cash into real, tangible assets is the cornerstone of wealth protection. Real estate provides stability, consistent demand, and long-term appreciation, safeguarding your wealth against economic uncertainty. This brings me to tactic number 3, the final tactic to help you face economic judgment day. Position yourself for asymmetric upside. Now, I just got done talking about how powerful leverage is. Leverage is a powerful tool, but my friends, it can be a very dangerous tool at the very same time if it's not used wisely. To thrive in the coming financial turmoil, you need to understand and position yourself for asymmetric upside. High reward with low risk. Asymmetric upside means that the potential benefits far outweigh the potential risks. In investing terms, this means putting yourself in a position where small calculated risks can lead to massive upside over a long enough period of time. Real estate, when managed correctly, provides this kind of advantage through appreciation, cash flow, tax benefits, and the strategic use of leverage. With asymmetric upside, you want to be in a position where a small initial investment, like your down payment, can lead to significant returns over time. But most people don't ever actually experience the asymmetric upside potential available in assets like real estate. estate. Because the problem is this, most people don't hold on long enough to experience it. One of two things happens. They either quit and try to find a shortcut to get their asymmetric upside even faster. They want to microwave their results. But in real estate, especially with leverage, the reason most people don't see the asymmetric upside is they get knocked out of the game too soon. What do I mean by this? Well, listen, my friends, leverage is a double-edged sword. It's a wealth amplifier for sure, as we've been explaining, but also it's a wealth destroyer if it's mismanaged. When you take on debt, your debt must be serviced. That's where liquidity comes in. Here's the key. Always maintain liquidity. For every property that you own, have at least 3 to 6 months of mortgage payments, taxes, and insurance set aside in a liquid safe account. This money in a liquid safe account you might feel like is underperforming because we just talked about why cash is trash. But this liquidity isn't an investment. It's your permission slip to use the leverage that we've been talking about. This isn't money that you're investing. It's your safety net. It's what allows you to stay in the game long enough to win and experience the inevitable asymmetric upside. Companies like Apple and Microsoft, they use debt to finance growth, but at the very same time that they're using debt, they also hold massive cash reserves to weather the storms. You should do the exact same thing on a micro level. Use debt to acquire assets, but keep a strong cash position to manage any short-term challenges. My friends, Financial Judgment Day doesn't have to mean disaster. It can be your greatest opportunity. By understanding the game of money, converting cash into real assets, and positioning yourself for the asymmetric upside potential, you'll be on the winning side of the seismic wealth shift that is coming. If you found this video helpful, I want you to do two things. Number one, I want you to hit the like and subscribe button below, but number two, I want you to ask any questions because I'm talking to you about things that most people are afraid of. Most people are afraid of debt. Most people do not want to have liquidity. Most people don't understand the game of money. So give me your comments below and let me answer them for you to help you win massively in the coming economic chaos. My friends, Judgment Day is coming. The only question is, will you be on the winning or the losing side of that inevitable day? I want you on the winning side with me and the rest of the people that are following these strategies that I'm sharing with you. So rise up and live free, and I'll see you on the next video. Fearless.